So you suck ass. Don't worry. I got you. No BS. Straight to the fucking tips. The first fucking thing you need to do is choose your playstyle. So what do I mean? Well, really what you need to do is choose whether or not you want to play the game for fun or if you want to play the game to win. If you're playing for fun, then you don't need to necessarily try and aim for the meta. You know, you can fuck around, do stupid shit, whatever. Have fun. You know, don't take like everything so serious. Just like fuck around, whatever. Playing competitively, then you need to actually think about the meta. And it's good to know the meta as someone who's playing for fun as well. That way, if you ever like really decide, I'm sick of this fucking shit and I want to win this game, you could still use that meta shit and potentially win. But it's up to your discretion. That's the first thing we need to get out of the way. So, the most important tip, I put it at the beginning for you guys. Your aim. No fucking way. Your aim? No way. There's really not much to be said. Really. If you're trying to win and you want every advantage possible, I really recommend you play on controller. And the reason I say that is because aim assist and there's a fucking aim assist conversation. I play on both inputs. I know what it's like. On M and K, it is extremely difficult to hit every shot. You have to be damn near perfect in a gunfight. And you don't have any help. It's all you. It's literally all you on a mouse. You don't have aim assist. You have nothing there to help you. If the enemy has good movement and they're like jump shotting you, which we'll get to, then it's even fucking harder. Mouse and keyboard is really hard to play on in arcade shooters like this game. And really, if you want every advantage possible, play on controller. So we're going to go controller players first here, and then we're going to go mouse and keyboard players. And there will be timestamps for you guys to jump around. So just look in the video bar. You'll see sections of the fucking video. I'll mark them out for you. If you're not interested in controller, skip to the mouse and keyboard section. If you're not interested in mouse and keyboard, you can skip past it, whatever. It'll be marked. So for controller, get in the range. Make your sense comfortable. All right? You need to be comfortable with your settings. You can look at other people's settings and see, all right, I'm going to put my settings like around these settings, but really your settings are your own. Use your own settings. People can recommend you shit, but at the end of the day, it's comfort. If you're comfortable with something, use it. You will be good with it if you're comfortable with it. You practice with it, you're good with it. That's how it works. So, with that in mind, I'm going to make some recommendations, and you don't necessarily have to take them to heart, but these recommendations are something that you should base your settings off of. S-curve. That's probably the best curve you can use. Linear is not great. It doesn't feel great. I know people play on linear. Personally, S-curve / dynamic will always feel the best. Always. Up to you again, but that's what I recommend. It's what a lot of people play on. It's what I play on. I will tell you what I play on so that you can base your settings off of it. Completely up to you. Another thing I recommend, make your ADS speed lower than 1.0, which basically means it's a multiplier, right? So if your sense is 50-50 and it's 1.0, when you ADS, your sensitivity is going to be the same as your normal sense. If you turn it down to like 0.8, it'll multiply 50 by 0.8, and that's what your ADS sense is, basically. Me personally, I play on a really low sense compared to everyone else. I play on 25-25. Everyone else has been playing on like 40, 50, 60. I play on 25-25. So my sense is pretty fucking slow. But it's how I get like consistent aim. It's how I like my aim is so good. So again, comfort things. Keep your ADS sense lower. If you put it higher, it's gonna fuck up your sense. It's gonna throw you off potentially, because when you're aiming in, your field of view is increased, basically, because you're zooming in, right? That means if it's already gonna feel faster potentially on 1.0 because you're zooming in, the turn rate's gonna feel faster. So if you turn that up, it's gonna feel even faster. It's bad. You don't want your ADS sense being higher than your normal sense. It's just weird. I don't know anyone that fucking plays like that. Don't do it. Don't even fucking do it. It's there. Don't do it. Don't fuck with it. Aim assist. I play on -5. You could play on whatever you want. Don't turn it off. I play on -5 because it's smoother It's not as sticky. When you play on 0, it's really, really sticky, and it can fuck with your aim. It fucks with my aim. So I put on -5. It feels smoother for me. I like it. Personal preference, completely up to you. Next, mess with your button layouts, because your button layouts are super fucking important. And we'll get to why it's important later. But I play on hurdler, which basically means you could jump with your right stick. And it just makes everything, your engagement's better, everything better. Everything is better on hurdler. Even if you're playing for fun, I'd recommend messing with your configurations, getting something that's comfortable. That way, you can still put yourself at an advantage to win more fights. And you're going to have more fun if you're winning fights, obviously. So just mess with your keybinds, your controller binds, fucking mess with it. Get something that's comfortable. For the competitive players, I recommend getting paddles or playing claw. You can play claw if you're a psychopath. That's fine too, because you need to be able to hit your face buttons either by using buttons on the back of your controller, which are paddles, or by putting your finger up, which for claw, for those of you that don't know, is when you play like this with your finger on the face buttons. That way you can still aim while you're pressing these buttons. That's the most important thing. You never, ever, ever want your thumb coming off of this thumbstick. Ever. That's why rebinding is so important to jump. That's why for competitive players, playing claw or playing with paddles is super fucking important. And you always need to be able to aim at people. You should never feel safe taking your thumb off of your right stick, ever. So, competitive players, recommend either playing claw, if you're a psycho, like I said. I play with 4 paddles. I've seen people play with 2. You can play with 2 if you want. I prefer 4. Preference thing. If you're playing for fun, you don't need to play claw. You don't need paddles, even though I would recommend it. What you do need to do, mess with your keybinds, get something that's comfortable, make it so that there's less instances where you need to take your thumb off of your right stick. On to M&K players. M&K players, it's a lot simpler. There's not as much shit to talk about. Really, what you need to do, the most important thing, get a good DPI. I've seen people play on like upwards of 3,000 DPI. Jesus fucking Christ. Don't play on a DPI that fucking high. I don't care if you're a wrist aimer, motherfucker. You don't need it that fucking fast. Really? Your DPI should be anywhere between 800 and 1600. I personally play on 1,000. That's what I prefer. Most people play 8, 12, or 16. But I like 1,000 personally. And if you don't know what DPI is, it's basically another sensitivity. It's a sensitivity outside of your sensitivity in the game. So it's pretty fucking important. If you're a wrist aimer, play a little bit higher of a DPI. If you're an arm aimer, play a little bit lower of a DPI. What does that mean? If you aim like this, play lower DPI. If you aim like this, play a higher DPI. If you're a combination like me, go somewhere in the middle. That's what it means. Your DPI is extremely fucking important. If you don't know how to change your DPI, look at your mouse. What brand is it? Look it up, see if there's drivers for it. Also, most mice have a button on them that adjusts their DPI. If your mouse does not have a DPI switch, then you don't have adjustable DPI and your mouse is dog shit. You need a new mouse. I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck if you're playing for fun or what the fuck. If you're playing on a mouse that doesn't have a fucking DPI adjuster, you need a fucking mouse. I don't fucking care. You're a gamer. You are a gamer. Never, ever, ever, ever use mouse acceleration. I don't need to explain why. Trust me, don't use it. It's dog shit. In your Windows settings, there's a setting in your mouse settings that is enhanced pointer precision. I'll show it on screen because I don't know exactly where the fuck it is. But you want that shit turned off because that is Windows built-in mouse acceleration. You don't want that on. You do not want any form of mouse acceleration. You don't want any form of mouse smoothing in other games. I don't think it's an Xdefiant, but no mouse smoothing, nothing that messes with your mouse. You want raw input, raw mouse input, nothing else. You don't want any of that shit. Trust me. It'll fuck with you. It's really bad. Movement. We're here. This is why rebinding your shit is really important. Make sure you get binds that you're comfortable with. It's going to make your movement a lot better. It's going to make everything a lot better. Be comfortable with your binds. And also, don't use fucking toggle aim. Please, if you're new to mouse and keyboard, don't use toggle aim. We need to be able to move. We don't want to be standing still being a fucking bot. Sorry. But you need to be able to use the movement to your advantage. Even if you're playing for fun, whatever, you're going to win way more fights. You're going to be in a lot better of a scenario if you're moving. Even if you jump once in a fight. You don't have to be a fucking bunny hopping abuser. You have to be sweaty like that. Just be better. It's not that hard. Press the jump button once while you're in a fucking fight. Rebind it to something that you can use. That's why I'm emphasizing rebinding shit. Be comfortable with your binds. If you're on controller, be able to click something while you're aiming that can make you jump. It's super important. Movement matters a lot more than people think. We need to be moving. We need to give me at least a jump in a fight, all right? It's a little added extra effort, but it'll make your gunfights way better, okay? Way, way, way better. For your settings, really, there's not, it's really comfort, up to you for your settings. The one thing that isn't, or that you really need to change, is FOV. For the love of fucking God, if I see one more person playing at default FOV, I'm gonna do fucking, like, I'm gonna go turn your fucking FOV up, motherfuckers. It's bad. You do not want to be that zoomed in. You can't see shit. The game looks awful. Turn your FOV up. This goes for any game. Don't play on default FOV. Turn that shit up. I can tell instantly when someone's playing on default FOV because it looks like fucking dog shit. It'll rock your fucking world. Turn your FOV up, motherfuckers. That should be the first thing you look at in fucking every game you play, motherfucker. Turn it up. What you actually play on is a comfort thing. I play on 110. Some people play on 120, which I wouldn't recommend. It's really fucking zoomed out, and you can't see shit the other way because it's so zoomed out. Anywhere between at least 95 and 120 is okay. What I'd recommend is between 100 and 110, and that's what a lot of people play at. I like 110. It's like the perfect medium. You're really zoomed out, but also you're zoomed in enough to see what you're shooting at. The reason I don't like 120 is because it's way harder to see where you're shooting at. I also play unaffected, and I recommend playing unaffected. Basically, what affected does, when you change your FOV and you go to ADS, that FOV will be scaled to your FOV that you set. If you play on independent, it'll be scaled to default FOV, which means you're going to zoom in a lot more. So FOV is really fucking important. Once you turn it up and you see how much more you can see and you see how much better it looks, you'll know what I'm talking about. Just turn it up. It's not that hard. Loadouts. Some people really don't know how the fuck to make loadouts. They put like a fucking 3x scope on a fucking AR and like a bunch of random fucking attachments, which is fine if you're fucking around, but these people I see doing it, I don't think are fucking around. All right? It's not that hard. It's really, really simple. It's not fucking Call of Duty, all right? Basically, you want to build your gun in a way where you're either maximizing its playstyle or you're dragging its negatives up. For example, the AK has a shit ton of recoil. Maybe build around fixing that recoil, right? Put more recoil adjusting attachments on it to make that recoil more bearable. It's a playstyle thing. Some things are going to be some attachments, some builds are going to be more efficient than others because you have like the perfect amount of ADS speed with the perfect amount of recoil control. Don't worry about that if you're playing for fun. If you're playing competitively, you need to worry about that. If you're playing for fun, don't worry about it. Just make a decent build. Or if you're just fucking around, you can make a dog shit build. You really can. I don't give a fuck. But know what you're doing. All right? At least make it like somewhat decent. Don't throw like dog shit attachments all over your gun. Like, for sniping, they don't have damage fall off. The range is infinite. You go from a 1.6 multiplier in the chest. The TAC 50 has it in the stomach too. You go 1.8 in the head. Doesn't matter what range you're at. Doesn't fucking matter. I think it's also a 0.8. A 0.8 if you hit limbs, which means you're doing less damage than the base damage if you're hitting limbs. Regardless, the damage will always hit the same, regardless of what range you're at. What does that mean? I'll give you a minute to think about it. Minute's up. You don't fucking need range attachments. You don't need to increase your range if your range is infinite. And they tweeted about this on the official account of them recommending a build that's complete and utter dog shit. Don't put useless attachments on your fucking gun. Please. They're useless. That means what you should be running is you should be focusing on ADS speed. You can do stability if you want, but ADS speed really is king for snipers because you can hold your breath and it makes it completely stable. So that's why stability doesn't matter as much, because you're going to be holding your breath a lot of the time, and it just makes your gun stable regardless. So that's why stability doesn't really matter as much. Recoil doesn't matter for the current snipers because they're bolt action. So you're not going to be like semi-automatic, you know, they're bolt action. Recoil doesn't really matter. If you're playing for fun, don't worry about meta guns. If you are playing competitively, I will tell you the best guns in the game now. ACR, MP7, Vector's really good. I wouldn't necessarily consider it one of the best guns in the game, but it is probably one of the best guns in the game. This is in no particular order. I'm just spouting. These are just like really strong weapons. The MP7 is better than the Vector by like an inch. But the ACR is fucking disgusting. The MP7 is disgusting. The Vector is strong. A lot of the LMGs are really strong. And that might sound fucking stupid, but they do a lot of fucking damage. You're gonna move slow with them, but they're really fucking strong. I'm not particularly sure if they're gonna be allowed in ranked play. I don't believe so. But if they are, then God help us. Because the M60 especially, that thing fucking shreds. Fuck me. The M16 is really powerful if you hit your bursts. You need to have good aim to use the M16, because if you have good aim, holy fuck, it's insane. It's really fucking strong. If you don't have good aim, you're fucked. Okay, last but not least, factions. Which one should you run? Which ones are the best ones? Yada yada yada. Best ones right now, get straight to the point. Phantoms, probably the best faction in the game. 120 HP, a barrier that they can shoot through that's hard to break unless you have an EMP or team shooting at it, or you run DedSec. And DedSec isn't generally a great class. And the reason for that being, in technical terms, if you were to place down a shield and it went 4 seconds and then someone hacked it, they'd only get like 4 seconds out of it. If the lifetime is like 8 seconds. I don't actually know the lifetime off the top of my head, but not a great counter. So Phantom's definitely the strongest faction in the game. Second best is probably Echelon. The intel suit is fucking insane right now. You just get like free pings on people through walls and it highlights them red. It's pretty insane. And their camo's dog shit, but their ultimate's pretty good. Like, scan their whole fucking team and one-shot them. I thought it was more broken than it was, but you have to actually hit them in the chest, so it does take a bit of skill. It's a little hard to use, but it is really good once you know how to use it. I'd say third best is probably Libertad. They're really powerful for healing your team. I've seen people complaining about the health regeneration in the game. If you have a Libertad on your team, they heal you. Your regeneration starts instantly for yourself and if you're around your teammates or whatever. Or if you just throw your heals at them, that heals them very quickly as well. Like, there's a whole class in the game that heals people. That's why it's balanced that way. They're very strong. Their ultimate's very strong. You just have to be careful. You're not invincible. All right. You got 200 HP. It regenerates very quickly, but you can be shot and killed very quickly out of it if multiple people are shooting at you. So be wary. Run around, do some movement, run in circles. If you're getting shot up a lot, you'll heal very quickly back up to that 200 HP because it's all Jesus. Very strong class. And then cleaners probably take the edge over DedSec because DedSec is not very good. Cleaners, kind of just mediocre. Drone, you have to like stand out in the open and like fumble with it for throw. So it's not great. It has some decent denial, but it's a very small path. Um, you can get kills with it, but it's inconsistent unless it blows up on them. So not great, but also not horrible. Firebomb, you can suicide bomb onto point, so it's actually like really strong if you're suicide bombing onto a hill. It's actually really strong. It's better area denial, and it does get you more kills than the drone would. So it's a good ability, not fantastic or anything. Probably like one of the most annoying abilities to deal with in the game, but. And then you have their flamethrower, which is definitely one of the ultimates in the game. In my opinion, it's the worst ult in the game, but if you use it in the right scenario, it can be very powerful. It's just, you gotta be on a good map for it, a close range map, good map, with like close range hills where you can get the max efficiency off of your flamethrower. And then you have to hope that they're all bunched up. If you want to kill multiple of them, you gotta hope they're all bunched up so that they can't just run away from your flamethrower. You know, there's a lot of things that have to go your way in order to make the flamethrower good. If you get a good flank going, if they're all clumped up and it's like a compact hill, you're cooking. And then their passive, it kind of sucks. It's good if you're sniping with the M44, but that's about it. I think it rarely ever finishes people, and it actually lowers the range of your weapons. I don't know how much it does because it doesn't say, but it does say that it lowers the range of your weapons in the description if you read it. So then you have DeadSec, who's like ass. I know the spider bot's fucking annoying as fuck, but it's not great. To be real with you, it's not the greatest ability in the game. What people don't realize is you could shoot it at the ground when it's running at you, and you could shoot it off your teammate's face. It's very easy to counter. And then, on top of that, it only stuns one person. It doesn't stun multiple people. It stuns one person. It latches onto one person, and it stuns them. And it also does 40 damage, which is fucking absurd, but that doesn't matter. So, if that DeadSec who just dropped that spider bot is running around the corner, it's like one guaranteed kill, and that's if no one is with that person. If there's people with that person and they're targeting that person, you're just gonna get traded. It's ass. It's ass. And then their hack, the reason their hack isn't great is because the only two things that are really worth hacking in the game right now, and that you can really hack, are heals, like El Redemio. You can't hack the Biovada boost because that's, you just pop it. But you can hack El Redemio. I don't know how to fucking say it. I'm an idiot. You can hack the throwable heals. Alright? And that's a pretty good hack, depending on where it's thrown. But because they have such a long lifetime, when you hack them, you'll still probably get a lot of life out of it. But with the magnets, they don't have nearly as long of a lifetime. So by the time you hack a magnet, it's going to be pretty much probably already damaged to half health because your team has been shooting at it probably. And it's going to be halfway through its lifetime, which means you're probably only getting like 4 or 5 seconds out of the magnet when you hack it. And you're going on a full cooldown for that. It doesn't reset the timer. It doesn't reset the health of the shield. None of that. So that's why it's ass. If it did those things, then it'd be really powerful. But it just doesn't do those things right now. So, and those are the only two things in the game you can hack. You can technically hack incinerator drones, but like by the time they're thrown, they're moving super fucking fast, and like you have to hack them like midair. It's like, you're not gonna hack an incinerator drone unless you're fucking Jesus and you can like pre-pull out your hack while they're throwing out their drone, and it's just not gonna fucking happen. And then their passive's actually really powerful. You get tactical back after a certain amount of time. It's really powerful. You can spam EMPs, you can spam grenades, whatever. I prefer EMPs because you could just like use that as your counter. You could run Spider Bot to like stun someone and get potentially a free kill, and then you can just like spam EMPs to counter all of the magnets because you're getting them back repeatedly. So that's pretty powerful. And then their ultimate is very powerful because it counters everything in the game. Literally everything. No one can use their abilities. No one can do anything when you pop your ult. It's very, very strong ultimate for a very, very weak faction. So it's literally the best part of their kit. It's very powerful, but also the rest of their kit's not. So, you know. But that's the factions. If you're thinking about fun, the most fun faction in the game for me is actually DeadSec, because my playstyle kind of like caters toward them. So if you're thinking about more of like what would be fun for me to play, then you got to think about the playstyles of the different factions and see which one you would like the most personally. And that's how you're probably going to have the most fun. And if you're a douchebag, then you could run Phantoms all the time. Find your playstyle, you'll find your faction, you'll slide right in there, and they'll be your favorite, and then you'll probably main them. At the end of the day, I hope these tips make you better. Leave a comment if they did. Subscribe. It'll help me out. I appreciate it. Like the video. You know, that'll help too. Links to my other socials are going to be in the description. Follow me on Twitch. I'm live every day. If you want to download Xdefiant, it's free. I'm not fucking sponsored. I have 133 subscribers. It's a really fun game. I love it. That's why I'm making this video. I want to help other people to enjoy it more as well. Hopefully this helps you get better, like I said. And I think that's all for me. I love a big fat juicy cat.